us without a second thought. We are cheering on others as life begins. We are there holding the hands and comforting others as life ends. We are there helping and supporting others in between these stages of life. But we become the villains when we advocate for ourselves and those who are placed in our care. Nurses are villainized when we want safer environments for ourselves and our patients. When we push back to ensure safe staffing ratios, better wages, and benefits. On social media, a clip from New Amsterdam TV show came on, and it was a counselor and a nurse talking to one another. And the nurse was saying, everyone is dealing with problems in nursing shortages. And the counselor said, no. There are more trained nurses in this country than ever before. Institutions know short staffing is a great way to make money. And I had to think about that. The counselor went on to say, you screw over doctors, they leave. You screw over patients, they die. You screw over nurses, they just stay. They stay on their job because it's more than a job for us. It's not just a job, it's our calling. Hello everyone, I am January Belcher. I am a nurse of 20 years, and it is an honor to be here and a privilege to speak on the Statehouse lawn as a representative of our nursing profession. Around this time, about a year ago, I mentioned to the powers that be and posed a question. Well, actually, they posed the question to us. What do we bring to the table? Some of us remember that. I had us pause for an enlightening moment and friendly reminder that we can fill the shoes of other professions and positions, but respectfully, no other discipline can fill our shoes. We paused to remind others that it is on our backs profits are made. Through our blood, sweat, and tears that CEOs get their bonuses. So again, what do we bring to the table? And it was made very clear that we are the table. And with that, we deserve to have served at our table increased pay wages, excellent benefits, and safe working environments. It is now at our table that we are joined by our allied friends, our respiratory therapists, our surgical techs, our BMT coordinators, and our PCAs. And at our table, there are teachers, labor workers like Amazon employees and baristas at Starbucks. We are the table that continues to be served by corporate and institution garbage. We keep getting served substandard wages, especially in comparison to the profits being made and bonuses being handed out to upper management. We keep getting served verbal and physical abuse. Oh, and let's not throw in the unwanted sexual passive-aggressive remarks by patients and or family members. Let's also mention the mental abuse and or manipulation from different levels of management. And again, no disrespect. And I quote, OSU, you can relate to this. If you don't like it here, go somewhere else like Amazon. That's the response we get. The garbage that has been served has been seen and noted to those of us in our calling. Nurses and allied professionals are sick and tired of being disrespected and disregarded. We are sick and tired of being a part of or hearing our colleagues enduring yet another shift of verbal abuse and or physical violence against us. We are sick and tired of nothing being done except the de-escalation classes. We are here on the Statehouse lawn, putting institutions and corporations, as well as politicians, on notice that we are done. And please save your pizza parties, your stale snacks, and your cheap chapstick. We don't want them. This is not about being liberal or conservative. This is not about Republicans, Democrats, or independents. This is about he and his, she and her, theys and thems. This is about Christians, atheists, Muslims, Buddhists, Hispanics, Asians, white, black, LGBTQIA, straight, coming together for the greater good, for humankind, to stand against the powers that be, the powers that refuse to protect us and to help us. We have the numbers, and we are in a position to vote out and dismiss those who don't want to make a meaningful change for nurses to provide quality care to patients in a safe environment. We have the numbers and the position to slide the garbage that has been served right off the table. We will not accept anything less than what we asked for and what we are deserving of. Politicians, CEOs, and whomever else that supports this madness, you are on notice. And we are graciously allowing you to try again, and serve what is needed and what is deserved. So I end with this, and in short, and to summarize it all together, keep fucking around and you'll find out. Respectfully. Without further ado, Sarah Kilpatrick, Executive Director of AAUP, is now coming to the stage.
Good afternoon, everybody. It is great to be with all of you. I'm Sarah Kilpatrick. I'm the Executive Director of the Ohio Conference AAUP. That's American Association of University Professors. We represent over 6,000 college and university faculty across the state, including our excellent nursing faculty who are training the next generation of nursing professionals to care for Ohio's patients. I grew up in a union household, and I'm the daughter of a nurse. So on behalf of me personally, as well as the AAUP, I want to let you know that we have your backs. We support you in fighting for the safe working conditions that mean safe and healthy conditions for patients. Some of you may have been standing in this very spot 12 years ago when we fought back against Senate Bill 5 together. SB 5 was an attempt to destroy collective bargaining rights in Ohio. And I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but the folks behind me in the State House are back at it again. Last week, they introduced Senate Bill 83, a sweeping piece of legislation that proposes an unprecedented level of political interference into the affairs of Ohio's colleges and universities, both public and private. But what's more, SB 83 attacks workers' rights by outright banning the ability for certain public employees, including nurses and professors, from striking. We have to stop SB 83, and I hope that you not only will write and call your senators, but tell them you oppose this terrible bill, that you also join us, if you are able, back here at the State House tomorrow for SB 83's first hearing at 11:30 a.m. in the North Hearing Room. We need to show legislators that this bill is strongly opposed. SB 83 is bad for students, bad for workers, bad for higher education, and bad for Ohio. Thank you so much in advance for your support, and thank you for all that you do. And now it's my pleasure to introduce my colleague, Kelly Nedrow, CEO of ONA.
Hi. I'm Kelly Nedrow. I'm the interim CEO for ONA and the Senior Director for Health Issues for the American Federation of Teachers and Nurses and Health Professionals. That's a lot, yes. If you would have told me when I started at ONA in 2005 as a labor rep that the staffing law that we were fighting so hard to achieve would not fix the problems, I wouldn't have believed you. If you would have told me 2 years later when I saw the staffing committees and the nurses being patted on the head when they went into the meetings with hospital administration across the state, I would say you are correct. The staffing law, it definitely does not solve staffing in this state. And so here we are. Here we are because of a lot of factors that are on the rise in healthcare. The value of nonprofit exemptions for hospitals, $27.6 billion is the total for 2020, and that's only nonprofit hospitals. And their exemptions exceed the value of charity care that any of them deliver. Money, cha-ching, cha-ching. Hospital executive pay is on the rise. A recent study showed that hospital CEO pay is up as much as 700%. 700%. What's the percentage of your wage increases? Hospital executives are enriching themselves while fueling the crises that you are dealing with at work every single day. Staffing, safety, and for patients, affordability and access to care. What's not connected? No connection between executive pay in hospitals and the quality of care or patient safety. It's validated in the research. Meanwhile, also on the rise, violence in our workplaces, turnover in our workplaces, suicide rates going up amongst our colleagues, people leaving the bedside and not coming back, poor patient care outcomes. Morale is increasingly low, and we know that when morale is low, patient care suffers. Am I right? Yes. But you're still here. You're all still here. And the market will not correct this dysfunction. Positive reinforcement will not fix the things that nurses are crying about before and after every shift. There are too many bad actors in the healthcare industry, and we need an intervention. We need laws. We need to protect people at work. We need to protect the care that you deliver. We need to implement safe patient limits, and we need it now. But that takes time, and it's unlikely, as you heard from some of the legislators today, that we're going to see this come quickly. You heard some things that you don't want to hear, did you not? Yes. We can't wait. We can't wait. If you're a union nurse, how many of you are union nurses? Do the assignment despite objection forms. Do the grievances. Do the actions that your leaders ask you to take, no matter how minuscule or silly they feel. It's building power, and power is what you need to take what you deserve. You have to continue to build power. These are the ways that you build your power. And sometimes that means strikes. A study recently came out in response to the strikes in the UK, and what they showed is that, number one, and very importantly, strikes don't increase patient mortality. We hear that a lot. We hear that a lot even from our own members. Strikes are, however, a result of the structural failures in our healthcare system, and that are the very same failures that harm your patients. So you have that in your tool belt. Don't let the legislators take it away. Whether you're union or not, a nurse, you're a nurse, and you can get involved. You can get involved in O&A, and as Rob said this morning so eloquently, and this is what I'll end with, one of the strongest ways to advocate as a nurse is to form a union. Thank you. And now I'll introduce Melissa Crawford, President of the Ohio Federation of Teachers, AFT Vice President, and Secretary Treasurer of the Ohio AFL-CIO.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. Before I start, I do want to give a special shout out to Senator Bill DeMore, who came out here to join you this afternoon. It's great to have legislators who not only talk the talk, but walk the walk. And a true supporter of labor, nurses, everyone who's in labor. So thank you, Bill, for being here. On behalf of the Ohio Federation of Teachers and on behalf of Tim Berg of the Ohio AFL-CIO, I'm here to tell you that you are not alone. We have your backs. When you are part of a labor union, you are part of 700,000 members in this state who are ready to take action with you. All you have to do is let us know what you need, and we have your backs and we'll be there. So I want to tell you, thank you. Thank you for the work you do in your hospitals and workplaces to keep Ohioans healthy. And thank you for the work that you do in your union to hold your hospitals and workplaces accountable. These two things are inextricably linked. We know that you can't keep us healthy if your workplace doesn't have safe staffing levels. You can't keep us healthy if you're at risk from violence in your workplace. And you can't keep us healthy if your workplace doesn't have the pay, benefits, and working conditions that it takes to attract and retain highly skilled staff. This is what a union is all about. Using our strength in numbers to enact the solutions that we need. When things get rough, working people need to stick together, as we're doing here today. And as we're hearing here today, things are pretty rough. Nearly 40% of nurses want to leave the profession. Healthcare workers are 5 times more likely to be assaulted at work compared to other professions. And these issues, along with unsafe staffing levels, are leading to burnout rates that are even higher than during the COVID-19 pandemic. And I'm going to say on a personal level, that scares me a lot, because I have family members who are dependent upon you and upon the work that you do. And I'm so grateful that my mother hasn't had you by her bedside helping her out. I'm so grateful that when my son had chemotherapy, was in the hospital, he had nurses like you who were taking care of him. We can't afford to lose a single one of you. These are systemic issues that need systemic solutions that you are fighting for. I want you to know you are not alone. I can't say that enough. I know so many times it feels like you are alone, that you're fighting alone by yourselves, but you are not alone. Ohio patients have your back. Ohio teachers have your back. Ohio unions across this whole state have your back. We hope that Ohio legislators will have your back too, but unfortunately, we've seen that some legislators are more intent on creating problems than on solving them. That's why what you're doing today is so essential. You are making sure that every legislator knows that they have a choice. They can either stand with nurses and patients for quality health care and quality jobs, or they could stand in the way. Whatever they choose, we will remember. All of labor will remember, and we will hold them accountable. Thank you. At this time, I want to introduce to you the person who has labor's back every single day throughout this entire country, and is here today with you because she understands the importance of this battle that you're fighting. AFT President Randi Weingarten.
Okay, all I have to do is say, we agree with everything everybody has said. And I can sit down, or, let's see, can you hear me? I never said it, I never shut up. But this is, look, you know how broken the healthcare system is. You don't need a teacher, lawyer, the sister of 2 doctors, the aunt of 1 doctor, and the aunt of several nurses to tell you all that. You live that every single day. And I love what January said. You know, I cannot curse from, you know what Fox would do to me. This teacher cursed. But even during the height of COVID, I found it pretty disgusting when you would see these huge billboards, you know, not that hand signs that our patients did or our families of patients did, but these billboards saying, thank you doctors, thank you nurses, and then you get a layoff slip because you weren't in the emergency room, you were doing surgery and they weren't doing surgery, so you got a layoff slip. Really? In between then having 5,000 mandatory overtime tours and no PPE. But thank you. And here's the stale donuts and the overheated pizza. Well, pizza and donuts don't count for saving lives. Pizza and donuts don't count when you're sitting there with a patient who is taking her last breath, and you are the one that the patient is relying on as that soul goes to heaven. You're sitting there when there's a preemie baby and you are coaxing it to stay alive. You're the ones who are on your feet day in and day out saying, no, in an emergency room or in an ICU, please, we cannot have more than 1 or 2 patients. When somebody is bleeding, when somebody needs something right now. And as some of you had already said up here, I think it was January said it, you know, if there is something that's sick, if there's a person that's sick, doctors, the Hippocratic Oath, we know, do no harm and do whatever we can to fix it. But we have a system that is sick, and instead of fixing it, there's just enrichment that is done by hospital CEOs and the hospital association and the hedge funds and all of them that now own healthcare. Not only does it not make sense, it's morally repugnant. And you are holding it all together because you understand your own oath and soul. And a sense that, if not me, who? I think Joe Biden was right when he looked at nurses and said, you are the most underappreciated profession. When he said that nurses are the ones who create the will to live in patients. Just like Melissa said, I saw that with my dad and mom who had very long illnesses, and it was nurses who kept them alive all the time. And everyone has a story like that. So if we know that, and if the powers that be know that, and they know they have to rely on you because without you, all of healthcare collapses. In a righteous world, they would give you anything that you need and want. Anything! Not tell you that the market tells them something different. I want to hear somebody talk about the market when they are dealing with or recovering from a heart attack. That's why, as everyone else who's up there has said, why we need power. Because they won't just do it because it's right. We have to make them do it because it's right, but that requires power. And that requires solidarity. And that requires showing up. And that requires doing a whole bunch of other things, like this is why Fox hates me, that we at the union are doing now, which is, in the last month, we started a campaign called Code Red. You know what that means. I don't have to explain that to you. But what is it? It is a campaign. Over $1 million, over 100 unions, locals all across the country, basically saying, healthcare locals saying, we got violence, we got unsafe staffing, we need to save patient lives, but it means we also need to save our own lives. Stop breaking us. Recruit and retain us. Treat us like you say. You think we're important because we are. I can go through all the data, but you know it. You know it instinctively. So do the hospital CEOs. That's why they will do anything to get travelers anywhere, because they know they need staffing, but they need to have people who are members of the community, belonging to the community, in rural and urban areas in this great state. We need to recruit and retain and love and treat you in the ways in which you deserve and our patients and Americans demand. And that's what Code Red is about. It is about making sure people cannot look away from the problem. It's about making sure people know what's going on. It's about having commercials out there. It's about having advocacy out there. It's about not letting no stand as an answer. And I don't care whether a state is 100% Republican or 100% Democratic. This is not an ideological issue. This is a human life issue. You don't walk into a room, a hospital room, and say to somebody, are you a Republican or Democrat? Come on, it's ridiculous. But it means that kind of investment. And that is what we are demanding all over the country. But as Kelly just said, it's not going to happen without us engaging. So what happened in New York? In New York, our nurse units, our nurses, they don't want to file these things, just like here. They filed grievance after grievance after grievance, form after form after form. And we got an arbitrator who said, this is ridiculous, and turned the whole situation around against big hospitals like NYU, big BMS, who would never listen to us before. And in other places, like Oregon, we are going to the legislature and we're saying that staffing committees didn't work. We need real numbers that are enforceable in terms of staffing. And we're this close to getting it. And the same in Washington. And we were almost getting across the line in New Mexico. And we're doing the same thing in Connecticut, coast to coast and the middle of the country. 100 units all across America fighting, standing up for ourselves and our patients, standing up against violence, standing up for safety, standing up for patient care, standing up for our dignity. And as you heard from our AAUP colleagues and from my fellow vice president, who's also the secretary treasurer of the Ohio AFL-CIO and the president of the Ohio Federation of Teachers, our whole union, the fastest growing nurse union in the United States, the fastest growing union in the United States, our whole union is with you, bus drivers and teachers and correctional officers. We have your back. But most importantly, we are a circle of each other that is not going to stop this fight till we have the dignity and respect that you deserve as the people who protect us, who make sure that at that moment of the most crisis, when a family member is saying life or death, you are there to protect us. So I say to the powers that be in the state, if you believe in life, you will believe in helping nurses have state staffing. If you believe in dignity, if you believe in freedom, if you believe in proper health care, you believe in any of the values of America, you are going to work with our nurses to get safe staffing. Thank you. I don't think I'm supposed to introduce anybody else, am I? So, since I'm not supposed to introduce anybody else, are you ready to fight? Yeah! Are you ready to fight for your dignity? Yeah! Are you ready to fight for your profession? Yeah! Are you ready to fight for American values? Yeah! Are you ready to fight for our patients? Yeah! Are you ready to fight for a healthcare system that makes sure you are respected? Yes! Good. Thank you.